to this Thursday's edition of the Intuit Profile webinar. On this Thursday topic we're going to be talking about is the working with the database. But I want to customize it according to the time of the year. So we'll do some quick setups on the QuickBase, how to do the database, how to do a filter, how to do the indexing and then the filtering, and then I'm going to talk about maybe some tips if we get an opportunity. I've put some links into this PowerPoint presentation, so I'll share that with you towards the end of the day or by tomorrow morning. I will have that to you via email, and I am recording this so that you'll have a copy or a quick reference of this webinar in case you need to go back to it and take a look at some of the things that we talked about today. So I'm just going to give it one more minute before we get started. As for if you have any questions, please go to your control panel of the GoToWebinar. There is a question section where you can post your question, and then I'll be able to answer that question towards the end of the webinar. I'll put some time aside and we can do that. Pretty much today's topic is going to be the three databases: your Client Explorer, your Classic database, and Hub. And I'll talk through them. Okay? All right. And again, just want to thank everyone for their attendance today. I know how busy of a season it is. We're almost at the end of deadline, and we're taking some time to learn what we need to learn in order for us to finish off the season. So hopefully some of the information that I share with you today will be helpful so that you can be efficient to closing out your season. All right, so let's get started. Again, the topic today is working with the database in ProFile. And the content's going to be, I'll talk about Classic Database, Client Explorer, and Hub, how to activate it, how to set it up and do the indexing, creating a filter, batch filing if you like to use the database for batch filing, and some tips on printing through the database. Okay. So how I'm going to set this up is I'm going to go through each one first. So for example, if I do Client Explorer, I'll do the activating and setup and indexing, the filter through Client Explorer, batch filing, and tips through the printing of the database. Okay. So these are the three databases that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to use Client Explorer first, and then I'll go, as soon as I go through all the topics within Client Explorer, then I'll go to Classic, and then I'll switch over to Hub. So let me just bring up ProFile first. So if you haven't used the database before, you won't have it available until you switch it on. So in order for you to switch it on, you'll have to go under the Options menu and then select Database. And by default, it will be on None. First topic I'll talk about, or database I'll talk about, is the Client Explorer. So I'll just switch on the Client Explorer database by clicking on the radio button here. Once it's in blue, that means it's been activated. All I have to do now is just press OK. And now my Client Explorer database is switched on. In order for me to access it, I can go under the Go To menu and select Client Explorer, or press the F3 key button or function button on your keyboard. Initially, this will be empty if you haven't done your indexing before. So if this is empty, then you'll have to take the next steps, which is indexing. You would click on this option here that says Index. Okay, let me switch over. I apologize. Just make sure that we're on the right screen here. And I'll do that again, so I'll switch it off. That way you can see it. You're welcome, Christine. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so in order for you to turn on the database, you'll have to go under Options, Database, and by default it'll be on None. You just select Client Explorer. You'll know it's highlighted by the blue button, and then once you have that, just press OK. And then now you can access your Client Explorer database by going to the Go To menu and then Client Explorer. Like I mentioned, this will be empty. If you just initially start your database, if you haven't indexed before, I've indexed a few times in the past, so I have files that are showing up in here. But if you don't have any files, then the next step is to do an indexing. Browse for where your files are stored. By default, it's going to be under My Profile Data under your computer, C drive, under your user, and then your username, My Documents, and then My Profile Data. One advantage you'll notice as we go through the databases is with Client Explorer, you'll just have to index one folder. You'll see that in Classic Database where we'll have to index each module and each year. So the advantage of Client Explorer is all your files will be indexed under one folder. So I'm just going to pick My Profile Data because all my returns are located under that folder. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to include the subfolders because I want every return associated with Profile to show up under my indexing, or as a result, it will show all my returns. In case you have a folder that's under My Profile Data, under 2016 T1 return, you have a T1 folder, you have another subfolder, Profile will be able to go to that subfolder if you use this Include Subfolders option as a check mark. Okay. If you have any password protected files, you can prompt for password or skip the protected files or use the password. Tell Profile to use a password so that it just bypasses or uses that password to index the return. Okay. I'm going to press OK, and now it's going to go through that whole folder, My Profile Data, search for any return that's associated with Profile, whether it's a 2016 to 2015, 2014, down to 1997, and it will index all your files and apply it here. Now, if I'm looking for a particular client, I can do a quick search for Smith, and I have some returns that have the last name Smith. Okay, so I can do a search for that. If you have a lot of returns, some of our clients do, they have thousands, and they just want to filter out a particular year, the option that you're going to be using is the filter option. So this enables you to filter out particular years or modules in accordance to your database. So as soon as I click onto that filter option, you'll notice at the bottom you have your FX, your T3, T2, T1. And now if I just want to pick out, for example, just my current returns that I've been working on this season, and that would be my 2016 T1s, I can uncheck all the other modules. I would have to keep the T1, of course. And then I can just pick the 2016. There's a quick tip here that you may want to take a look at. If you want to clear out, instead of unclicking all the years, you can just right-click the blank space, clear all, and just pick your year. Once you've clicked your year, apply the filter, which is on this right-hand side, and it will filter out all my 2016 returns that's applicable for T1s. Okay. I could also do deeper filtering by the client status, for example. I want to see, out of all these returns, which ones are completed. So I can just right click, clear all, completed, and apply the filter, and I have no returns that are completed. Okay, I'm going to uncheck that, select all again, apply the filter, and say I want to do it for the T1 e-file status. This is going to come in handy for those who are looking to quickly filter out any returns that you may have missed. So I'm going to clear all. I'm going to put not accepted, because you might have e-filed it but it wasn't accepted. I want to make sure that it hasn't been, I want to filter out anything that I may have missed, or it's not eligible, or it's unknown. Okay, I'm going to use these three options and apply a filter, and now it will select the returns that are unknown, not eligible, and not accepted. So that's a quick way of looking through your files using this database to find out which ones have you missed, whether it's unknown, not eligible, or not accepted under the e-file status. You could also do it for TP1, send status. You could do by prepare. You could filter out by prepare. So say, for example, I want to filter out all my returns that are prepared by this individual JC, and apply the filter, and it looks like these two returns are done by the prepare JC. So that comes in handy if you want to do some quick filtering out of returns. This one really is going to be applicable to this time of the season, client status and e-file status, and filtering out anything that you may have missed throughout your season. Okay. Now there are other options like creating a query. That's more of a advanced option. I have a link actually in the PowerPoint presentation, or this PowerPoint slide, that I've included, so it brings you directly to our how-to page. The videos there, the pre-recorded webinars, or the recorded webinars. There's advanced. There's also a link to our articles that you can just quickly look at. How do I create a query, or just put in the keyword query, and it's going to give you a lot of articles and how-to videos on how to do that. So I won't go into that today. I just wanted to give you a good quick synopsis of what these databases do and how you can use it at this time of the season. Okay. All right. So I've covered Client Explorer, how to switch it on, how to do the indexing, how to do a query, how to pick out and filter out anything that is applicable to a particular module and year, e-file status, the client status, and so on. Okay, so that's a quick synopsis of the Client Explorer. Now, if you prefer to use something a little bit thinner, where it just takes a year and a module at a time, I would suggest maybe using Classic Database. So let me switch over to Classic Database. You would just go under the options again, options menu, then you go to Database, and then you switch over to Classic Database. And these file directories here aren't where your files are stored. They're just the the database views, and that's where it's being stored. So don't worry about what this looks like. This is only what you do with the database, like filtering and views, is stored in this file here. Okay, and it's divided by each year and each module. Okay. Now that I've switched on Classic Database, I can click on to OK. And now you have a database menu option up on the top. And you go to Database Open, and then you'll get a window that looks like this. Okay. Now you'll notice that I don't have any files. It's empty. I'll have to do those steps like I mentioned in Client Explorer, or you have to index your file. So you have to get ProFile to look at that folder for the particular module and year, include the subdirectories, file type is there. Once I press OK, it should index those files. Okay, looks like, let me just switch over to another folder here. So it looks like I don't have any files in there. I have let me use this one here. 2016, I may have switched it over. Okay, let me see if that works. Oh, no files in there. Let me try the other one. Must be in here. Okay. I'm going to pick the 2016. The reason why I'm picking the 2016 is because I'm in this particular module up here. And now I should have some files. Oh, I've got filtering on. So let me click on to these, and there they are. And realize I had eFile status filter. So now that I have my files, those 2 files, or the 4 files that I have in there, I can now use my filtering. So I can do the client status in accordance to show me the ones that are completed. So I don't have anything completed. Or you can tell ProFile to show me the files that are not eligible. Okay, so I'm just put not eligible, and there they are, the 4 files that are not eligible. So with the filtering in Classic Database, it's a little bit quicker because you could just go to which you want to search for, in this case not eligible, and it automatically will bring up the files that you are filtering out for. You don't have to click on apply filter or anything like that. Okay. So that is the indexing in Classic Database and applying the filter. You also have a query option for Classic Database. Again, you can just quickly, it's an advanced option, you can quickly look for it under the link that I've sent to you, or I'll be sending to you through email. All right. Now I just want to go back. I should have shown you the printing options. Let me go back to Client Explorer, bring up the database here, and I want to say, for example, you are you want a batch file or you want a batch print. So you would filter out again your 2016. If you're ever doing specifics, just filter out the year and the module first. So I'm just going to do 2016, apply those filters, the 2 files come up. Once I select all, because you may have more files than I do, probably do. Once I select all the returns that I've selected for, I can batch print for. So in this case, I want to print the files. So you have this option here under Actions. So all the returns that you have selected will be printed off. Or you can print forms within the files. Meaning, if you want to just type out or print out the T183s and you want to print those out as a mass printout, you can do that by using this print forms in the file. So you'd have to select the returns first and then use print forms in the files. You can also do CRA import, and you could also build an e-file, a batch e-filing. Okay, so that's, say for example, you have 10 returns that's ready to be e-filed and you want to just build a file so that you can batch e-file. You can use this option here in the Classic Database. Or you can mass open files by selecting a bunch of returns and then you would open files. But this comes in handy when you want to become more efficient. All you have to do is just select the files, and then these actions will be available to you once you select the files. So that's some quick tips for you, some great tips for you when it comes to batch e-filing or batch printing or batch printing forms, okay, or doing a CRA data import. I'm going to switch back to Classic Database and see if we have that option available in the Classic Database. So if I go to Open, I have my returns, and pick the returns. Okay. Now one thing too is, like I mentioned in the Client Explorer, you're indexing a whole folder. In Classic Database, you're indexing just the module and the year. So if you're dealing with multiple years, you'll have to index them. Like for example, T1s, you'll have to index your 2015s. T1s, you'll have to index your 2014. So I've indexed these in the past, so that's why they're showing. I don't have any 2013 returns, so I don't have that option. Okay. As for Classic Database, you could do a batch printing, and you can do a batch carry forward. Okay. You could also do that in Client Explorer, but you're limited to some functionality when it comes to Classic Database. The two options that you can use for batch is batch printing and batch carry forward. Okay. So you would just click onto that. You would pick the returns that you'd like to do a batch print for. Okay. Or you can also use the same option, batch carry forward, pick the returns from prior year, and then you can carry forward those returns to current year. Okay. For the online e-file batch, the option is under e-file, so you would select that. I don't have any numbers. If I were to put the number in, let me just put something in. It's probably not valid, but got something. So to build your online batch, it's not under the database. It is under the e-file option for Classic Database. For Client Explorer, it's under the actual window, under the actions. For Classic Database, you would have to use the e-file menu and then build the online batch. Pick your files that you want to batch e-file for, and then build the e-file. Once you build the e-file, you'll have the option under e-file to send in that batch or e-file online batch. All right. And for printing, I've mentioned that. So that's Client Explorer and that's Classic Database. Some tips on how to quickly do the indexing, filtering out, doing some batch printing, batch e-filing, which will help you towards the end of this next couple of weeks to get those returns out. The filtering, I hope, will help you when you're filtering out any returns that you may have missed, and that's the Classic and the Client Explorer. Okay. Let me answer this question. Evelina has a great question. When we e-file, we always double check the T183. Is there a way to pull up the T183 when one does a batch e-file? Unfortunately, you'll have to double check them first, Evelina, before you send them out. So it's a good idea to maybe open up, do a batch open of those files, and just do a double check on the T183 and make sure that everything is in check, okay, before you do the batch e-file. It would be a great idea to, have ProFile ask you, do you want to check these first before you, but most of the time we have our steps on double checking. If you have a system, that's great, but that's what I would suggest, maybe doing the batch open and for those files that you're unsure about, and then double checking them. Okay, thank you. Okay, Evelina, you're welcome. All right, last thing I want to mention is Hub. That is something that is new this year, and there's some great functionalities within Hub. It's not as robust as Client Explorer, but to do a quick search or a quick filtering, you can definitely use this option. And to turn on that option, it is under Go To. It's already turned on, but you have to do a couple of things before you actually have it available to you. So if you have to make sure that you are updated to the most current version. I believe you started to get Hub after 3.5 or 4.0, so this option should be available to you if you have those versions. Okay. Again, how to access it, you'd have to go under Go To, under Hub, and then you'll have a window that will pop up. Usually it will say that you need to enable it. It will look like this. Will be grayed out. And all you have to do is just enable Profile Hub, and that will tell you that you're switching it on, just like we did with the Classic and Client Explorer. So now that I've enabled it, it's now highlighted, and I can either use my index my files, whether it's coming from a local server or a network server. In this case, it's coming from my local drive or local server under this file menu or file directory. If this isn't the file directory that you want to use or where your files are stored, then you can use the browse option and just guide Profile to where your files are stored. In this case, I have it under my profile, my documents, my profile data. It's under 1, and there they are. And now I can tell Profile to read the files or index the files according to 2015 and 2016. So first thing you need to do is search for where your files are stored using the browse, or if it's already been picked by Profile by default, great, you don't have to do anything. You would just select read files, and now it's going to re-index my files. Okay. So it looks like it's indexed 4 of my files. Oh, there's more coming. 7 of my files now. Okay, and this is what it looks like. So this is a quick view of what you have available to you as a database. So what it's going to give you is the name of the client, the name of the file. It enables you to use Intuit Link, and it enables you to do CRA import for that return. It will show you the status of the return. So if it's the actual file status, and you can include any comments if you choose. For example, this individual, I'd like to say customer still has to send slips right away, okay, because we're almost reaching deadline. All right, so that will give me a quick comment on the status of what I need to do with that client return, and so I need to reach out to that client and get the slips right away so I can finish the return and send it out. Okay, you could also change the status if you'd like. You could put it to waiting for client, and that way you'll be aware of what you need to do with that client. Okay, so this is a really good database to use if you want a quick way of looking at your returns and your files within the database for 2015 and 2016. Okay, it gives you a quick view, a very clean view of your returns and what's happening with them. And you can access the returns from here if you'd like. I have to click on the actual file name, and then it will bring up the return right away. Okay. I could also search if you have a lot of files within that database. You can quickly do a search, and it should give me all the files. I must have misspelled that. Oops. Just want to bring up that one. Okay. And now it will isolate or filter out all the returns that have the keyword CUO. Okay. So that's a quick way of bringing up a return when using the database. Again, with Hub, it's limited. You won't be able to do some of the functions or features that I've shown you within Client Explorer and Classic Database, like the batch printing and the batch e-filing. But this is definitely something that we're working towards, and including within Hub. We find that this is, as we get more responses and more feedback from you on what you think about Hub, then we'll build towards that. Okay? But I wanted to show you this in case you want to use it towards the end of the season, just to give you a quick look at your returns. All right. Good. On that note, I think that's it for this session. I just want to thank everyone for their attendance. I'm going to take a look at the questions, see if there's any other questions that I may be able to answer. So this is some of the things that I've put together. Talked about the batch printing and the batch forms and multiple returns. The good links. This will bring you to the how-to videos, the recorded webinars, and also the other link is for the articles that if you do a quick search for anything that you are interested in, just like that query that I mentioned, or if you want to know more about particular steps when it comes to the database, or creating a report in the database, or creating an export in the database, there's some great articles written out there. There's some videos created out there that are very helpful when it comes to doing these, using these features. Okay, so it looks like I have a question here. What does the Intuit link do for us? Well, let me go to one of these links. I think I can go to this one here. And I'll do a search for you, Evelina, for link. Okay, let me go to self-serve. So that second link is to the videos. And now I want to look up link. And link is a really good feature that we've included this year when it comes to collaborating with your clients. So if you do a link hub search, you're going to get a great article here that mentions what it is. So I'm going to give you a quick example, Alina. A client has T4 slips, or they have receipts that they'd like to send to you. You can use Hub, or you can also use log into Link, and request and invite your customer to Link so that they can upload their slips or their receipts. And then that way it's being uploaded to a secure server, and you as a preparer can retrieve that information from Link. So it's a great collaboration tool that you can use. It's like a portal that you use along with your client. They upload their slips, they upload their receipts, you retrieve them, and then you apply it to their return. So that's a quick synopsis of what it is. There's some great information here about what the functionality does, how you can use it. There's a checklist, there's an engagement letter that you can send out. The checklist gives you, create a checklist for your client to make sure that they give you particular things that they may have given you from last year, like slips and receipts. They may have dividend income, So if you're looking for that kind of functionality or collaboration tool, then Link would be a great function for you, Evelina. Okay, so I hope I answered your question there. Does anyone have any other questions? If not, what I'll do is I'll give you back the time for your day. Again, I really appreciate your time. I know how busy it is, that we're almost at deadline. And on behalf of ProFile and Intuit, I really appreciate everyone through these webinars. And I hope that everything that I share with you today brings you closer to using the software more efficiently and helping you through the end of the season. So have a great rest of the week, and next week we'll see you again next Thursday for the last webinar of the season. And have a great tax season, everyone. Thank you very much.